All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into projects, and I don't just mean the huge, world-changing ones. I'm talking about the everyday ones too. We're going to break down this universal roadmap that guides pretty much any project from just an idea all the way to a successful finish. So yeah, let's get into it. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The pyramids, polio cures, landing on the moon, every single one of those massive human achievements started out as a project. It's kind of wild to think about, right? It just shows what's possible when you actually have a plan. But hey, it's not all moon landings and pyramids. Think about something like, I don't know, organizing a charity concert or launching a new app. Heck, even planning a wedding. Those are all projects. So what's the connection? What do all of these things have in common? Well, the answer is right here in the official definition. See, a project isn't your day-to-day routine work. Nope, it's a special, one-time thing. It's got a clear beginning and a clear end. And it's always this big juggling act between time, budget, and resources, all to achieve one very specific goal. And because they all share those features, they also follow a really predictable path to get things done. We call this path the project lifecycle. And honestly, it's the secret sauce for managing chaos and turning an idea into something real. So our explainer today is going to walk you through this exact journey. We'll hit defining the goal, creating the blueprint, bringing it to life, and then finally crossing the finish line. Let's jump into stage one. First up, stage one. Defining the goal. You know, you just can't hit a target you can't see. So this first stage is all about making that target absolutely crystal clear. Because every great project starts by knowing exactly what you're trying to do. I like to call this the what and why phase. What are we actually building? And why are we doing it? This is where you lock down the project's objectives, what you need to deliver, and all the technical specs. Let's go back to that charity concert idea. A fuzzy goal like, let's put on a concert, just doesn't cut it. A defined goal is specific. It answers the what, when, and how much. Something like, our goal is to raise $40,000 for charity by hosting a 6-hour music concert on June 5th. Now that is a goal you can work with. Measurable and clear. All this thinking gets put into the main thing you'll create in the stage, the scope statement. Think of it like the project's rule book. It lays out the objective, the deliverables, the big milestones, but, and this is super important, it also spells out what the project is not about. Just defining the limits and exclusions can save you so much trouble down the line. And here's what one actually looks like. You can see how it gets into the details. This thing isn't just some document, it's basically a contract. It's the one place everyone goes to for the truth, making sure the whole team, the customer, everybody is on the exact same page right from the very beginning. All right, moving on to stage two. We've got our what, so now we need the how. It's time to create the blueprint, and this is where the planning really kicks into high gear. The effort really ramps up in this stage. We're essentially drawing a detailed map. We're figuring out all the tasks we need to do, who's going to do them, when they'll get done, and what it's all going to cost. The project really starts to take shape here, at least on paper. So, back to our concert. In this planning stage, we'd be hammering out a detailed budget, booking the bands and the food trucks, creating a marketing plan, and assigning roles. You know, who's in charge of ticket sales, who's handling publicity. All those nitty-gritty details get sorted out right here. And a super useful tool for this is the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS. Now, the name might sound a little technical, but the idea is actually really simple. You take your big deliverables from the scope statement and you just break them down. And then you break them down again into smaller and smaller pieces until you have these little manageable tasks called work packages. So why bother? Well, the WBS becomes the backbone of the whole project. Once you've got those small defined tasks, you can track costs with way more accuracy, you can assign work so everyone knows what they're doing, and you can coordinate all the different moving parts. It's how you bring order to all that potential chaos. After you have all your tasks from the WBS, you can build what's called the project network. This is where you figure out the order of things. I mean, you can't set up the sound system before you've even booked the venue, right? The network shows how all these tasks depend on each other and helps you build the final schedule. And a really popular way to see this network is with a Gantt chart, just like this one. You can see how every task is laid out on a timeline with clear start dates and end dates. This basically becomes your master plan showing who's doing what and when. Okay, so we've defined our goal, we've drawn the blueprint. Now for the fun part. Let's move to stage 3, bringing it to life. This is the execution phase. Time to stop planning and start doing. This is where the rubber really meets the road. Most of the budget gets spent here, and most of the actual work gets done. Whether you're writing code, pouring concrete, or setting up a stage, this is when the thing you've been planning actually gets made. For our concert, this is showtime. The bands are playing, people are showing up, money's being raised. But the project manager, they're not just kicking back and enjoying the music. They're constantly monitoring everything. Are we on schedule? Are we going over budget on security? Is the sound quality what we promised? That constant monitoring is what keeps the whole project from derailing. The last song has been played, the crowd's gone home. We're done, right? Well, not quite. Welcome to the final and often forgotten stage. Stage 4, crossing the finish line. It is a huge mistake to think the project is over just because the main event is. A project isn't really finished until you do the formal closeout. That means handing over the final product, tying up every loose end, and officially shutting down the operation. So this means there's a whole checklist of wrap-up tasks. You've got to pay the final bills and reassign your team members. You need to get formal sign-off from your customer, in this case, the charity. And, maybe most importantly for the future, you write a final report. This is where you document what went well, what went wrong, so the next project can be even better. So there you have it. We've walked through all 4 stages. Let's just take a moment and pull this all together. This table really nails it, doesn't it? Each stage answers a key question and produces a key output that feeds right into the next stage. You start by asking what to get your scope statement. Then you ask how to build your whole plan. This all leads you to that final delivery and, so importantly, those lessons learned that make every future project you do that much smarter. So in the end, this life cycle is more than just a process. It's a powerful way of thinking. It lets you take any big, messy, ambitious idea and break it down into logical, doable steps. It's truly a proven roadmap for turning a vision into a reality. So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about your own big ideas. That business you want to start, that skill you want to learn, that trip you want to take. It's a project, and now you've got the map. So my question to you is, what's the first thing you're going to define?